America's Godzilla of Truth. All week long, he's world-renowned for his proficient proclivity to prophesy the people's political picks with pinpoint precision.
Yeah, baby!
Then, on the weekends, he gets with the guys that are pretty wise, and Godzilla wins. Godzilla Wins, the sports picking show for winning dough. Money lines, parlays, over-under, the best plays. You choose the game, Godzilla picks the winners. Get expert analysis, exclusive insights, and have a little fun. When the game is on your mind and money's on the line, Godzilla Wins is your guide to picking winners. Godzilla Wins, on the screens of your TV and favorite devices, commanding radio airwaves far and wide. Before you make that play, hear what the Godzilla crew has to say. Presented by WestVirginiaSportsNation.com, it's time for Godzilla Wins, all across the John Fredericks Media Network. Oh yeah,
for entertainment purposes only.
Good morning, John Fredericks. How are you? I can't hear you. I got nothing. Nope. Let's go to Matthew Lumsden down in Greenville, South Carolina.
What's up, guys? How we doing?
How's everything down there? You got the Oilers hat on. Doing well? Edmonton, how'd we do last night?
Play game 3 tonight. You guys are real lucky you didn't get me in the McDavid jersey this morning. As much as I love the Oilers, I hate Vegas that much more. So this is just a fantastic start.
How does one hate the Las Vegas Golden Knights? They've only been around for so long. I mean, I understand hatred. That's kind of good in sports. But where does that – they've only been around for, 5-6 years?
Yeah, but obviously Eichel came in with McDavid. I'm very anti-Jack Eichel.
Okay.
They've had Edmonton's number significantly too many times at this point. So the hatred has grown quite strong.
But you're Edmonton native, right? Your family's from Edmonton, right?
Yep. So big Oilers guy. We finally got rid of Stuart Skinner. I feel like I've been preaching that on this show for like 2 months. Started 0-2, got rid of him, and Pickard's getting it done.
Yeah, good for you. Jay Delsing joining us from St. Louis, correct, sir?
What's up, Sex? Yes, sir. St. Louis mode.
St. Louis.
Weather hell, Sex. Weather hell.
This is what men do at our age. We complain about sports teams and the weather.
And
right?
I don't even want to talk about the beat that we took in Game 7.
Well, let's go to that one since you don't want to talk about it. No, I'm just kidding. We'll circle back.
1.6 seconds left. We've got completely whipped.
I don't have any emotional attachment to the Jets or the Blues, but
I do.
Financially, that saved my weekend. I'm going to be straight up with you. That was great. John Fredericks joining us. Where are you now, John?
Washington, D.C. Let's go. Jets. They won last night at home. Must-win game. Picked them to win the whole thing. I feel good about beating Dallas. I feel good about getting a win in Dallas. If they win one game in Dallas, they're going to win that playoff series, and then they're going to get the Stanley Cup.
John, who's going to play goal for them on the road? They got this guy who turns into Swiss cheese on the road, John. He got pulled in all 3 games in St. Louis.
He, you know what? He should be the best goalie in the National Hockey League. He can't win on the road, but things are going to be different. This team was built for this. This is why I'm so confident. I got 10-1 odds, and I went in pretty solid. This team is built for Dallas. They're built for the next round, and it's destiny. I mean, how do you win that game? The series is over. They got 45 seconds to go. They got a 2-game lead. They pulled the goalie with 3 minutes. This was earlier in the week. They pulled the goalie. 3 minutes the game's over. And then they score with 45 seconds.
All you got for our audience who is just joining us, John and Jay, Chris Saxman here on the Godzilla Wins Burgeoning Network. We're talking about St. Louis Blues, Game 7 against Winnipeg. St. Louis is up 3-1 in Game 7 in Winnipeg, correct, sir? In Winnipeg, yes. Which is in Manitoba province, since we're talking about buying all these Canadian provinces now in America. Just kidding. But Alberta and Saskatchewan's referendums notwithstanding, we have the Winnipeg Jets in Manitoba, and they're up They're 3-3 tied, but they're down 3-1 at home in Game 7. They pull the goalie with 3 minutes to go, score a goal, go 3-2, score another goal. It's waved off, and in the last minute, last second they tie it up 3-3.
What the final shot? 1.6 seconds on the clock. One shot to go. We thought they tied it, and they disallowed that goal. But you got to remember the first goal, they pulled the goalie with 3 minutes. The first goal was scored with 45 seconds. So basically the Cardinals, the Blues had what was that? They had 2 minutes and 15 seconds. A guy showed, they had the goalie pulled. They were able to keep him scoreless. They get the goal with 45 seconds to go. Mad flurry. They get another shot. We think they tied it with 25 seconds to go. Goal is disallowed. It missed by like a half inch. That's disallowed. And then with 1.6 seconds, they take a slap shot. It gets in. They tie the game and go to double overtime. I had to go.
Our captain, Braden Shen, was on suicide watch. With 12 seconds left, he could eat the puck in the corner, tries to eat it, and swirls loose to the point, and it goes bing, 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 and in the net, and he's ready to kill him.
Oh, when they switched ice on that pass, I was like, oh boy, I got real excited. I get chills thinking about it. I was like, oh, it could be there, and bang, it was done. 1.6 seconds. Winnipeg goes to overtime, goes to double overtime to beat the Blues. At which point I woke up and the handshakes were going on, so I missed the winning goal.
This is what the Blues do. In 2019, we're up 4-1. With 37 seconds left, and I call my brother, who's a huge Blues fan. He lives in Florida. And I'm like, dude, I think we're going to win the Stanley Cup. He goes, are you kidding me? There's still 37 seconds left. We could screw this up. He hangs up on me and waits till it's final. I mean, that's what happens here.
Well, that's just the nature of sports. We're going to kick off the show today. I got the PNC Park in the background here. We're leading off with the Pittsburgh Pirates changing managers in mid misery. 12 and 20.
What's he call it? Mid misery.
Mid misery. We're in the middle part of May. It's a miserable season already. Started out with a horrible series against the Miami, the Fish down there, the Marlins. Yeah, what do you think about getting rid of Shelton? And before the show, I prepped it by having Grok AI on X come up with a compare and contrast, or actually a comparison of the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Book of Lamentations in the Bible to understand the true nature of pain, suffering, and waiting for a victory. What do you think about changing in midstream there, Jay, in the middle of the season?
First of all, the Pirates have no idea how to spend money when it comes to players. And I don't know what they're going to do with Skeens, because he looks like he's going to be this generational sort of talent. And then you start thinking about Derek Shelton getting fired, and you wonder, can the guy manage? Because is that a fair assessment? I mean, you get to run the Pittsburgh Pirates with that lousy roster. I mean, what do you do? I mean, if you're Derek, I mean, I don't know. Are you ever going to get another MLB job? I mean, does that even count? You're going to have to start spending some money. And you're going to start having to figure this out. That ballpark behind you, Chris, is one of my favorites in all of MLB. It is beautiful. Gorgeous. It's one of my favorites. And that team, man, they just got nothing going on. And it's not without talent. There are some players I love. You see O'Neal Cruz throw that play at the plate. I think it was against the Cardinals, and it was 101 miles an hour. And threw that runner out at home. And there's some players on there, but man, they've got no clue how to fill out a roster.
Well, they just didn't try in the offseason, did they? They just didn't. They just didn't. I mean, and I hate saying it about the guys who run the team, because you go, well, Tony Pham is okay, he's good, or Tommy Pham is good. Re-signing Kutch, okay, great. They're good ball players, but you don't build you don't build a team by making those moves. You just don't. And you depress your fan base, and it's just, you got Bubba Chandler and coming up next probably, and his next the June call up, because we wouldn't want to wait till June to bring up a starting pitcher with who's throwing gas out there. Matthew, what do you make of all this misery?
I think Paul Skeen's interview summed it up pretty well when asked about it. He basically said they're terrible. Somebody has to be held accountable. When the face of your franchise has seemed like he's checked out, zero support, zero condolences. I mean, that's very fitting. Like Jay said, it's one of the best ballparks in the league, if not the best. There are some pieces. Bubba Chandler coming up with Paul Skeens. Jared Jones has been hurt. I think he's a stud as well. I mean, you've got a potential young three-headed monster there. And
well, I guess can you imagine Keller at your 4?
Yeah, the only bright spot is at least you're not the Rockies, right? I guess that's the one good thing in all of this.
No, that's not how it works. Do not take away my misery for someone else's further misery. I need this. On a Saturday morning, a beautiful day in Virginia, gorgeous. I'm going to cut the grass later. I got to crack a beer. I got to watch the game. Don't tell me that someone else has it worse. I don't want to hear that.
Hey, knocked off Atlanta.
Nobody's got it worse, dude. No, you have it worse. You have it worse. In fact,
because no one expects the Rockies to win anything ever.
That's right. Our brilliant chief executive officer, Ann Fredericks, my wife that runs the company, when Michael Pasqua decided that talked us into running the Pirates on 3 of our stations, here's what Ann said: "I'll do it. Every customer has to prepay for the season because I don't want to be writing rebate checks in May." Well, here we are in May, and everybody that didn't prepay has canceled. So Ann once again was right. They all want their money back. Nobody tunes this team in. It is a complete and utter disaster. They won't spend any money, and it gets back to what we said. We've been saying on the show for a long time. MLB baseball, if you're a bottom feeder like Pittsburgh or Oakland or Sacramento, whatever you want to call them now, there's an economic model where you make more money by losing. And right, so it's like the anti-capitalist, creation of all time. And that's what Bob Nuttig does. They won't spend any money. That same thing in Oakland. They give away their best players. They get the revenue share from the better teams. They get sold out when the Yankees come to town, and they get the revenue share, and they have this tiny little payroll, and they don't win. And so there's an incentive to lose. It's just disgusting.
Well, John, I think you hit on a point there in the economics of baseball, and there's no incentive for the Pirates to spend money because for the ownership, the value of the team is not predicated on the performance of the organization. It's based on the growth of Major League Baseball. So they just float with the tide, right? It's like owning a house in an expensive neighborhood, and you don't have to put any money into it because it's going to automatically go up because everyone else is putting money in their homes, and then they're inflating the prices. People go, "Oh, we could get yours for a song," and he's still going to make a couple $1 billion. So what's his incentive to win?
No, that's the problem.
How can they not bitch about the Dodgers? The Dodgers have almost $1 billion in deferred payroll. How can they not complain about that? The competitive balance is crazy. It's because exactly like what you said. They don't give a damn. Let the Dodgers rock. Let however the rock falls at the end of the year, and whoever wins, but they still get paid. It's a bad system, man.
Because LA makes their money on local sports, right? On local TV. And they're going to that's how that's what you have to do in Major League Baseball. But a friend of mine sent me just adding to my misery. Thankfully, he's an Orioles fan, and they're having a crap year too. But Bob Costas talking with Dan Patrick about the situation of the Pirates, who has a glorious past. It was a great baseball town before it was the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Penguins. It was a great baseball town, and now they're just miserable. But, Costas, who's been an advocate of the salary cap and a salary floor for a number of years, I think hits it right on the nose that we need to change the economics of baseball and put a cap and a floor on the salaries. What do you think?
Well, the Players Association won't ever go for it, but that's an entire.
Well, they're going to have to do it.
And they're going to have to.
I'm in favor of a strike for the entire year. I don't really care. Lock them out. Get the minor league players up. They've got to fix this. I mean, they have got to fix it. And every other sport has it. And those that have done it right, their sport is phenomenal. Let's start with the NHL. Yeah. This is the best Stanley Cup playoffs ever. They have created parity in these teams. Their salary cap is hard. There's no way around it. You've got to manage to that. If you decide to keep your older players like the Penguins did, and you want to give it back to the fans, we got to suck it up and say we're going to have a couple, 3 bad seasons. But, it's okay because we saw Crosby, we saw our guys play as they age. I'm good with that, right? But that's kind of the bargain you make with the fan base. So they're going to have to sit this thing out. NFL parity, NHL parity. You've also got some semblance of parity in the NBA. It's not a hard enough cap. But if you look at the NHL model and the way hockey is taken off, it's because right now there's 8 teams in it. Any of these teams can win the cup. Yeah. Any of them. How often does that happen?
And list off the names of the teams. Winnipeg, competitive. Really?
Winnipeg, right?
Edmonton.
Dallas.
Right. I hate Dallas. Let's not go
there.
Matthew.
Carolina.
I mean, the Panthers.
Carolina. Raleigh. It's not even Charlotte. It's Raleigh. It's Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah, Raleigh.
Right.
I mean, they got, smaller market teams are right there, and they've made the NHL. They made the NHL a great league, and that's NBA, what they need to do with baseball.
Oklahoma City, and Cleveland, right?
Right, exactly. Sit it out. They're going to have to sit it out for a year. That's what they're going to have to do. There's going to be a strike, and the owners just have to hang tough. Now, speaking of the Dodgers, I put a major wager on them last night. Oof. I go to bed. They're up 8-4. I'm like, winner, chicken dinner.
Nope.
I get up to go to the bathroom. I'm like, yeah, let me check the score. They're down 11-8 in the 8th inning. I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me, dude. So I just went to bed. Then I get up. I check my DraftKings account. I'm like, where'd I get all that money? Dodgers came back with 6 runs in the top of the 9th. Woohoo!
Well, if you've ever been to a Dodgers game at Arizona, it is spectacular. Because all the Dodgers fans are there before the Diamondbacks moved to Arizona, so there's a history of there, and and they sell a lot. I'm going to be blatantly obvious here. They sell a lot of Mexican national team hats there at the stadium on this night.
Do they still show up in the third inning, Sachs?
What's that?
Do they still show up in the 3rd inning like they do at Chavez Ravine?
No, not for this.
And go home in the 7th inning?
3rd inning, John, and they leave in the 7th.
They leave in the 7th.
They don't want to get there because of traffic, and then they leave.
It's all traffic. No, it's actually pretty nice down in Arizona. But we went there. This was 2016. I was driving cross country with my sons, and my father, picking up my sister's car, Navy thing. They're moving across country. I said, let me drive your car out. I just always want to drive cross country. We stopped in Phoenix for a Diamondbacks game, and we get there in the morning. And my dad goes to the window and he goes, okay, I like the 4 tickets for tonight. And the lady at the window goes, whew, I'm glad you got here because we're almost sold out. And he goes, how are you almost sold out? You're in last place. We're not, what is this? It was a Saturday night, I think. And this is the week after the All-Star game in 2016. And my dad goes, really? What's the big deal with tonight? She goes, oh, it's sombrero night. And my dad goes, what's sombrero night? And she said, the first 25,000 people who come into the gates get a sombrero. And I'm like, let's do this. And I said, Dad, we're going to be the first in line because we didn't fly across country and not come back with a sombrero. And sure shooting, the place was packed to the gills of Dodgers and Diamondbacks fans. We're all wearing these sombreros. I got that's right up there on the wall. I'll pull it down here in a second. But, the rivalry between the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers is pretty strong. And we have these well-known rivalries, Giants, Dodgers, Cubs, Cardinals, Yankees, Red Sox. But I think that Diamondbacks-Dodgers rivalry, John, last night for Shohei Ohtani, they hit a 3-run tater in the top of the 9th to take the lead is extraordinary. And that stadium –
they give up. They got all this great pitchers. They give up. The Diamondbacks scored 8 runs or something. I guess in the sixth inning. So they go down by 3 runs in the top of the 9th and come up with a 6th spot. And on a 2-out, 2-strike pitch, Ohtani hits a 3-run bomb. I read today. Unbelievable, unbelievable, crazy game. So I also bet at Atlanta last night, and Pittsburgh won. So that was kind of a downer. They won. What, Pirates win what? one game a month, Matthew.
It was our weekly win. Here's the sombrero.
Oh, that's good looking. Yeah,
Isn't it?
That's pretty cool.
So my dad and two sons, we got these sombreros.
I love that.
Which I mean, if you talk about cultural appropriation, I mean, but it's in Phoenix and everyone's wearing these damn sombreros. The thing that stood out to me is that after we went to the game, and I forget who won the game, we drove up to Flagstaff that night, my sons and my dad. Guess where the sombreros are made? This is the kicker.
Compton.
False.
All right.
Vietnam.
Really?
Swear to God. We're sitting there, my dad and my two sons, we're sitting there with these sombreros on watching this ball game. And of course, my son's going, Yasiel Puig, he's going to be great. I'm like, no, he's not. And he absolutely stunk up the joint. But yeah, we looked at the tag. We're like, made in Vietnam? Okay. Such is the nature of the beast. Matthew, who's your team?
I'm a big Red Sox guy, so we're in the middle of the pack this year.
Well, how did you get to be a Red Sox fan?
Screw the Red Sox.
Matthew,
I was born in New Hampshire.
Interesting fan
I'm Boston everything outside of the Bruins.
Oh, outside the Bruins. Okay.
Yeah, we had season tickets to Fenway. Big Patriots fans. Going through the rebuild era right now.
That was the normal era for Boston sports, aside from the Celtics.
Yeah. I think my childhood was a little too spoiled. I think I peaked in 2018, got a Red Sox World Series, Pats won it all, and then Clemson won the Natty my freshman year there. So it's been strictly downhill from that year.
Yeah, most people don't get those kind of peaks. Let's move off the misery that is the Pirates that started this whole Lamentations segment, John. I'll send you all the printout here comparing the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Book of Lamentations in the Bible. You'll be able to understand the historical level of grief and misery and how important it is in our daily lives. it's actually something we can hold on to, John. But one of the things I also wanted to talk about, but let's back it up a little bit because we're talking about baseball. New Pope this week. Who would have thunk that the new Pope would be a Chicago White Sox fan? I did not have that in my bingo card. But what I found interesting, and I think Jay can talk to this because he's St. Louis, is the rivalry between the Cubs and the Cardinals. I think is one of the great underappreciated rivalries in Major League Sports.
Yeah, no, it definitely is, Saxon. And two great ballparks to go to, and both teams travel really well, 250 miles apart, and the rivalries have been legendary. When the Cardinals play at Wrigley, there's probably half, it's blue and red, and probably half that much. The Cub fans don't travel quite as well as the Cardinal fans, but the Cardinal fans are in flux right now because they're disgruntled. John Mozeliak is stepping down. He's just kind of been a figurehead, kind of lame duck really the last couple of years, and the product on the field has just wavered. And we got a bunch of young kids. I'm glad to see them go this way. We don't have a whole lot of pitching. Our bullpen is dreadful, but we've got Mason Wynn, and we've got some really good. Victor Scott is really going to be a good Major League Baseball player, I believe, and so there's some good pieces there. But the team's in flux. The payroll's down. The fans are bitchy here, and incredibly spoiled too. Sachs. They expect a World Series every other year.
To their credit, the St. Louis Cardinals are an outstanding organization, one of the best ones in baseball. Frankly, for a city, middle America, mid-market city, to have an extraordinarily successful baseball team, it really is a testament to the organization, who have been historically good.
Yeah, they draw from Iowa and Tennessee. There's that little void where the Royals aren't a big brand, and so we'll get peeps from Iowa and fans that could latch on to the Royals. They just haven't, because they just haven't been very good, and so we get folks from Arkansas and draw from 4 or 5 different states. But right now, attendance is down. We've got. I guarantee you there were probably 6,000 people in the stadium the other night, and the attendance was 22,000 because the corporate folks are paying but they can't give their tickets away, and so no one's showing
Right,
it.
right.
So we're in this weird flux, but the DeWitts will figure it out. They're great baseball people, and they're really, really dedicated to it. So they run this thing as a business. They're very they're very strict and disciplined when it comes to the way they spend their dollars. So they'll figure it out.
Yeah, but the nature of that rivalry, I've been there in Wrigley for a Cubs Cardinals game, and I was astounded by how many Cardinals fans were in the stands at the same. It was a day game too, and I'm like, damn, these people traveling for their baseball, which I respect. I mean, I love it. Being in the NL Central as a fan it's obviously miserable because I'm a Pirates fan, but when I travel to these other stadiums, I respect the other teams. Like the Cardinals are an organization that is flat out respect, right? They're good. The Cubs fans are wonderfully miserable in the stands, not like the Red Sox fans who are like probably the best misery to sit next to in a baseball stadium. This is before they were winning World Series back in the mid-aughts. And of course, the Yankees fans know everything about baseball. They're never wrong. Yeah, I'm poking that bear. Let's just get that out of the way. But with the Cardinals fans and the Cubs fans, I think are some of the best in baseball, and I love that. I love that rivalry.
It's a good one. Whenever the Cubs and the Cardinals play, it doesn't matter how the teams are playing. That the ballparks will be full. They'll be full, and they'll be there. You know, the old days there used to be some fights in the stands and things like that. There's a little more empathy and apathy, but more apathy. But yeah, that it's a great rivalry. Fun stuff.
Love it. And what stood out to me, and I'm not going to stay too much on the Pope here, but I think it's extraordinary. The videos coming out of him being at the 2005 World Series for the White Sox. He's a true White Sox fan and grew up as a White Sox fan. Everyone, when it was announced that he was the Pope, the running thing on social media was that the Cardinals chose a Cub, right, because he was supposed to be a Cubs fan, and when in fact he didn't choose either his father's team, the Cardinals, or his mother's team, the Cubs, which I thought was an extraordinary look at. When you look at a young man's growth and his development and the team he picks, he didn't pick either his mother and father. He didn't choose between his parents. He chose something completely independent and separate, which was a relatively decent Chicago White Sox team back in the late 50s and mid 60s. And that's the team he stayed with. And I think that really speaks to the man. I thought that stood out for me. And the fact that he's a Pope and went down that line. John, I know you're Catholic kid. What do you think of that mix?
I don't want to talk about politics here or Catholicism, but I'm glad that we have a U.S. Pope. He seems, I like his name, Leo the 13th, who he's named after, was an ardent anti-communist. His baseball team is at White Sox. Good for him. Hope he shows some love for them.
Yeah, I don't mean even the Pope can help the White Sox, John.
Yeah, I'm not sure that there's anything that can help. Hey, I want to talk about collagen in a minute because they're one of our sponsors for this show, and it's one of the most important proteins over 50 that you can possibly get in your body. I just got my cup of coffee here. I put 2 scoops of collagen in it. It is the most essential thing because as you get older, that depletes out of your body. And I know I've said this, guys, 100 times. But it is the most important thing that you can do for yourself over 40 in the morning, because then your body draws off that pure protein. You get up, you eat a bagel, cream cheese, jelly, whatever. It's all sugar, slows your metabolism down. Collagen is an essential protein, but what you're going to find with it is you're going to feel better. It takes about 2 weeks. Your joint pains are going to go away because it's really meant for your tendons and your bones. It makes a tremendous difference for me. Everybody in my family's on it. My whole team is on it. Just go to nativepath.com/Godzilla, nativepath.com/Godzilla, and we're good to go. And there's no promo code, just nativepath.com/Godzilla, and it's going to be a game changer for your life.
Okay, so you have to put in the website when you're typing it into your search bar. You have to put the / with Godzilla, nativepath.com/Godzilla for collagen. Great stuff there, John. No, I didn't mean to go to politics, but it was more about growing up with your teams and how important they are in our lives and how they really form a lot of our behaviors. And Matthew is a Edmonton Oilers because of his family's connection, and he's born in New Hampshire, Boston guy. Jay, his dad played for the Tigers, but he's a St. Louis guy, Blues, and the Cardinals there. You grew up a Houston Astros fan in New York on Long Island. How does that happen? Right.
First game I went to, 1967. I was 8 or 68 or 66, maybe 66. I was 8 years old. My father took me to Shea Stadium. He was a blue collar worker. It was an afternoon game. And he like a Wednesday afternoon, like businessman special. Remember they used to have those. That was before the getaway games. It was in August, but both teams were probably 100 games out. And so he took me there early, and we're seats up in the stands, but he gave the guy $5. Nobody was there. So he put us behind the third base dugout, which is the Astros dugout. So I don't know anything about Astros, but I'm 8, right? So, right. And my father said, hey, root for the Astros today because I bet the Astros. That's what he tells his 8-year-old son. I'm like, whatever, Dad. I don't know anything about these. I'm 8. So we go there early for batting practice. And Jimmy Wynn, number 24, is taking batting practice. Walks back to the dugout. I'm standing there, 8 years old. Walks back to the dugout. And remember the old days, you tap your bat on the dugout because he thought maybe his bat cracked. So he tapped it on the dugout with barrel in his hand, handle. And he said, okay, this thing is split. There's a break in it. So the bat's no good. And I'm just standing there. And Jimmy Wynn, probably 22 years old, the toy cannon, just hands me his bat. He just hands it to me. And then Larry Durker, who was probably 19-year-old pitcher, is like milling about, and he sees that, and he says, well, if you give him a bat, you got to give him a ball. So he goes in the dugout, and he grabs a ball, and he tosses it to my father. So I got a bat and a ball. I was a lifetime fan. I never missed an Astros box score. I'm 67. I was 8. So that's 60 years. I've never missed a box score. That's how I became a fan.
And that's crazy. One of the important binding things about sports. And I'm gonna make an important shift here as we talk about this, because in these major league sports, we have our team, and they are our team. When my kids were growing up, I said, look, we're Catholic. I was a convert. Michelle's cradle. But I told the kids, look, you can be whatever you want, think whatever you want, believe whatever you want. We'll support you. You can be a Buddhist, Baptist, Methodist, Presbyterian, Catholic. That's on you. But in this house, you're a Steelers fan, a Pirates fan, and a Penguins fan. And there is no discussion. There is no discussion. That's the same thing I did.
That's the same thing I did with the boys. I'm like, the rite of passage of this family is you will be an Astro fan. You'll be an Oilers, now Titans fan. And if you're not getting crap from me, and don't even think about putting on another hat. So that is a rite of passage. If you want to survive in this household, Astros, Titans, that's it. No way out of that. So you're absolutely correct. Sometimes the father's just got to lay it out.
Look, I don't care what you believe, but this is who we are, right?
This is who we are.
Well, and I've relented on those their significant others and or spouses and who they root for. It's okay, fine, but I swear to God, if you invade my grandchild, we're going to go toe to toe, right? I mean, we're going to have the conversations, but let that play out. And the reason I say that is because it's important. It does form our opinions. Look, if you grew up a Cubs fan, you're miserable for life until you win the World Series, right? If you grew up a Red Sox fan, you believe in the Bambino curse for the longest time, right? And that becomes a part of who you are and the manner in which we behave. And the transition here is an important one because I love horse racing. John, I am hooked. The show we did before the Derby got me jazzed up. I'm at the baseball game, the AA team here for the Giants, and we were watching it on the phone. And my daughter texted us from Saratoga Springs saying Baez is scaring all the other horses in the tunnel and had a massive poop, and everyone thinks Baez is going to come on strong. And so what do? I go to my app and I bet hard.
You lost.
I lost, of course, because I went for the win. But it was fun. And one of the reasons why I like horse racing, and maybe y'all can talk to this, is because there's no loyalty to these horses. You don't get wrapped up into everything. You're there to win and have fun. Matthew, what do you think about us? Are you talking? The old men are talking here. What do you think about this?
No, I mean, spot on. There's, like you said, it is most sports, it is do or die with your teams. You are miserable or extremely happy. Horse racing, there's complete separation, and it is you get 5 minutes where you are cheering for something that you are never going to care about again, and it is very exhilarating.
It's exhilarating.
Oh, it's awesome. It's the best.
It really, really is. I can't wait to do it again with the Preakness coming up next weekend. Sovereignty is not in the field, unfortunately. And I think that should be a law. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. You should run in the. That should be like John. You got the White House behind you. Let's get on this. Jay, what are you on this?
When I was a kid, I learned to gamble from playing golf with all the caddies in the back room, and then we went to the track in the afternoon, and we were betting on the color of the jockeys. We didn't know what we were doing, but it was an absolute blast. And I've always loved horse racing. I always loved anything that we can bet on. I mean, it's fun. One of the things I want to throw out there, when there's these greatest achievements of all time, and and they're all athletic endeavor, Jordan, 6 rings, the whole thing, Gretzky. How the hell is Secretariat in that though? It's a animal horse. I mean, it's a horse. This thing, great. It was great. But how does that get into any of these other achievements? But I got to tell you, it's almost like back in the days when we were kids, guys. And Matthew, I know we're old guys, but anyway, boxing, horse racing, and baseball and football, man. It was like that's what our world revolved around.
Oh God, we haven't even gotten into boxing and how important culturally that was. Ali, Frazier, Norton, everything. I mean, we followed religiously the boxing in the Olympics. Teofilo Stevenson from Cuba, remember that guy? I mean, but to your point about no one talks about the greatest of all time being Secretariat for that year for that Triple Crown. He still has the fastest times in all 3 tracks, all 3 races. Well, not even close.
It was just an extraordinary horse, and we all know the story behind that. But that was extraordinary. You're probably not going to find that again because there's just too many good horses out there. The Preakness is Saturday, and it's always goes 2 weeks after the Kentucky Derby. So the winner Sovereignty is not. They did not enter him in that, so they don't want to put that level of stress on him. They don't think they're set up to win the Triple Crown. Otherwise, they would do it because you get a bonus for that. And I understand that your point is they should be compelled to run, but you can't do that because you don't know. We don't know on the sidelines what his stress is, what level of discomfort he might have. And they have to think now they got a Kentucky Derby winner. So the owners have to think very long term. He's going to be a sire. That's where they make millions of dollars. Okay. Having said that, journalism is going to beat this field. If you look at the Kentucky Derby, and I bet journalism, I picked him to win. He had a miserable trip. I mean, that was the worst trip imaginable. And we got shuffled back. Then he had to come 3 wide on the turn, make up all that ground. And he was passing everybody. And had it not been for Sovereignty, who got a perfect trip, and he had to journalism had to expend so much energy getting to the top and going 3 wide in that turn, and still he was hanging in there for second. Horse is incredibly game. I mean, he did not want to give up that lead. He just was spent, and he got beat there handily by Sovereignty. You take Sovereignty out of this race, journalism is by far the favorite.
John, that's a great point too. When you break these horses down, they come out. You have no idea what you want to talk about a crapshoot. I mean, it's like who's going where and what and how.
I mean, it's he just got shuffled back. He got out of the gate okay, and then he got shuffled back, and then there was a crowd, and he had to go 3 wide, and still with all that, if it hadn't been for Sovereignty's kick at the end, he wins. Now, the only other Baffert's got Rodriguez, and Rodriguez is 5-2. Baffert's going to try to wire the field. Here's the problem with that. The Preakness, like the tracks get longer. The Derby is very long stretch. Then the Preakness is a 16th of a mile longer. Then the Belmont's a 16 mile an hour longer. It's very tough to go wire to wire when you're running, a mile and 3/16. I just don't see that happening. All journalism's got to do now is get decent out of the 6 holders. There's only 9 in the race, not 22, and I think he wins this handily.
Yeah, he's the odds that I'm seeing on CBS Sports 4-5 at this point. Matthew, where's your generation on horse racing? What do they spend their time on? I know there's a lot more gambling online than we didn't gamble online, obviously, growing up. But now culturally, where are y'all, and especially when it comes to horse racing, and what are you looking at in the Preakness?
I think John was spot on. I mean, smaller field journalism didn't have his best race and still probably could have pulled it out had one slight thing changed. I think our generation, like you guys kind of stated, I think the horse racing and boxing not as prevalent as it once was, but I think UFC's kind of done a pretty good job. Dana White's done well with picking that up. I know I don't miss a pay-per-view. Big John Jones guy. McGregor was peak entertainment in his prime. So as far as horse racing goes, it's still incredibly entertaining. I don't think it's quite the staple that it might have been in Secretariat's times, but it's great entertainment. Definitely watching them all. I'm not saying I'm living and dying by it, but I'm not missing it. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's great entertainment. John, do we think we need, rather than force them to run in the Preakness, and I'm sort of just spitballing there and just venting, but maybe we should lengthen the time between the races to 2 to 3 weeks?
No, I don't think we changed anything. It is what it is. I'm a traditionalist. It is what it is. The trainer and the owners make the decision not to run him in the Preakness for whatever reason. There's so many things that go in as a former horse trainer. There's so many things that go into that decision. One of the things you don't know if he came up a little sore. You don't know the level of stress on him. They don't want to risk it. He's got a lot of other races in him before he retires. So you just don't want to put yourself in that position. So those are the little things that we don't know. Obviously, if they thought they would be in a position to compete, they put him in, because if you win the Triple Crown, that goes down in history. I think there's $1 million bonus on top of the other races, winning stakes that you win. So there's a lot of money at stake. So that decision is made on the benefit of the racehorse. I mean, there's, you come off a win, and then you got to check everything out. And, maybe there's a strain somewhere, your vet sees something, the trainer sees something, and you just don't want to chance it. And coming back in 2 weeks for a thoroughbred is tough. Standardbreds are different. They run every week. Sometimes coming back in 2 weeks is tough, especially when you got, a tough field, you got a longer stretch. So they made that decision. I respect that.
Hey, Zach.
Yeah, I obviously respect it too, but damn it, I wanted to see a Triple Crown winner. America wants a Triple Crown winner. Go ahead, Jay.
What I was wondering, John, when you win a major in golf, there's a dollar amount associated with that for off the course things. Do they have dollar amounts associated with these major horse race wins? Like obviously the Derby would probably be the biggest.
The purse at the Derby was $2 million. The winner gets 60%. So they won. Those owners got a check for $1.2 million.
And then
the second place horse journalism, I think the winner gets 60, second place gets like 30%. So they got 600,000. So you get the person that race. And what's changed horse racing now and saved it really is the tracks turning into casinos, because that revenue they get from the casinos, they're able to put that money back in to purses, which gets better horses, which gets better trainers. Back in my day, we didn't have that. So, instead of racing now, like if I raced a $10,000 claimer at pick a track, Roosevelt, Yonkers, Meadowlands, mean, maybe the purse was $3,000, $2,500. Winner gets 50%. So you'd win $1,250. Just isn't enough money. Now a 10 claimer, purse is $10,000, $15,000. You're going to get $7,500. Almost pays for the horse. So that's the difference. So back in my day, in order to survive, if you ran overnights are not stake races. Like the Kentucky Derby is a stake race. If you ran overnights, claimers and conditions like I did, the only way to survive, and I had a head of maybe 15 or 20 in my stable at any time, you had to gamble. That was the only way to win. That was the only way to make money. You had to gamble. And there was no OTB. You had to gamble at the windows. So, you'd have a horse or whatever, and, you'd think, okay, I'm 5 or 6 to 1. I'm going to win this race. You tell your driver what to do. Then I send my father to the windows. Remember, no OTB. He'd go to the $50 window. We'd want to bet $1,000, but you couldn't bet it until the end. So he would have to go to the $50 window, wait until 1 minute, and then the guy would just punch the tickets one after the other to get to $1,000. Nobody else could bet. The odds would start going down. So you were 5 to 1 when he got to the window. Then you were 5 to 2 when the race went off because your father just bet $1,000 standing at the $50 window. That's the way it worked back then. It was crazy stuff.
Well, John, you talk about that because I don't think people really know your extensive experience in horse racing. And it's one of the things I found, one of the most fascinating things I found about you. But coming as it did, as you went to the Astros game with the Mets at Shea Stadium, your father gambled on the Astros, and your father helped you in the gambling with horse racing. And you're obviously big into all the gambling and betting, and all the odds and the payouts and everything. It's like your brain is on fire when you talk about this. Is this a way that you bonded with your dad? Was that something you all shared deeply between each other?
I mean, my father gambled. I mean, it is what it is. I mean. He would go. He bet football. He bet baseball. He bet basketball. When the Super Bowl was over Monday night, he bet some obscure basketball game. I mean, that guy just gambled, and back then it was with bookmakers. So yeah, I mean, there was certainly a bond there. But you also grow up understanding that gambling to that extent is not a good thing for a family. It caused a lot of problems in our family. Because gamblers don't win. I mean, they just don't win. Over time, you're going to lose, especially with bookmakers.
Well, that's because you bet against the
gambling and not winning.
One time I was at Brandywine. My horse was 8 to 1. It was called Blue and Royal. And once in a while I drove. I would get catch drivers. But once in a while I would drive because I was not really a known driver. So that would drive the odds up. And I was the best horse in the race. I mean, I just know I was the best. And no question about it. So, and I was out of the 8-hole. So 5/8 track, I just circle the field. Horse goes off at 8 to 1. My father and I probably bet a couple of thousand each. Horse goes off at 8 to 1. It was 10 to 1 morning line. Probably went off at 6, 7 to 1. Come out of the 8-hole, backstretch. I circle the field, jog by everybody, up by 5, middle of the stretch, can't lose. I don't know why I did this. I took my whip, which is on my shoulder, and I just tapped him, and he broke stride over the wire. When the standardbreds break stride, place first wins, place last, because you can't break stride over the wire. Probably cost my father and I $15,000. And he's like, comes to me and he's like, "The hell did you do?" I said, "I don't know. I just did it." Horse broke. So there's all kinds of weird things that go on. I got out of the business. I was at Roosevelt Raceway. And there's many reasons I got out, stuttering one of them. But I got out of the business because I'm at Roosevelt, which is in Long Island. And I had a horse, forget the name of it. And I'm scoring it down. I was not the driver. I'm scoring it down. And Carmine Abbatello, when I'm like out of the 6-hole or something, 7-hole, I'm like 15 to 1. I told my owners, we're a little short this week. Don't even bother to go, right? Don't even bother to make the trip up. I'm going to try for check, maybe get fourth or fifth. I'm about a race away. So I'm circling him down. Carmine Abatello gets up next to me and he says, "You're the best tonight." I'm like, "The best what? Best dressed?" "No, you're the best tonight. Just leave out of the 7-hole, back up the half." Back up the half means nobody will challenge you. You back up the half to like, a minute 3 or something. So you back up the half and then you got juice in the second half. So I'm like, "No, I can't do that." Because I already told my owners to stay home. I told everybody to stay home. He said, "Don't worry about it. Just leave out of there, back up the half." And so if I don't do that, I'm done, because now they will box me in every time I race, because they are. I mean, Carmine Abatello, Buddy Gilmore, and those people were the drivers. They ran the thing, so they bet me that night. And so I had to do what they said. So I leave out of there, 7-hole, right to the top, back off the half, win in a jog, win by 2 lengths, goes off at 8-1, pays $18. What do you think my owner said when I told them I was not going to win? I tried to tell them the story. They were like, they just thought I flat out lied to them to get better odds. And at my age at that time, I'm like, I can't do this.
John,
how old were you?
Early 20s.
Were those trotters?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I raced standardbreds.
Oh my gosh, so much fun.
Yeah,
that's one of the great things about John Fredericks. You learn all that he's done. It's an extraordinary life, and your knowledge of the horse industry is very helpful, especially for Preakness. Bob's looking at this, and definitely helpful last week in the Kentucky Derby. We're talking about that. But one of the things, John, that I've discovered in trying to, I didn't grow up as a gambler. My dad wasn't a gambler. We didn't bet side things. We didn't even do like, quarter bets on a golf hole. We were playing nothing. He just doesn't bet. It's just culturally who he was. My son, on the other hand, and the young man who's probably going to marry our daughter, good Lord. That generation goes on their phones and they bet on the win.
That's like Matthew. Do you know that Matthew, who you got right here, do you know that he's a professional gambler? He makes more money gambling than he does in his job. He's
poker? You poker player?
Matthew right there.
Just sports. We don't get too much into the cards.
Sports. That guy wins.
I had a caddy that was a professional gambler. He had money buried around the country. He had money buried in cans around the country back in the day.
God help us. So Matthew, because if you're making money, we should be talking to you more as we transition. Now we're going to come out of the horse racing here. We're all looking at journalism, maybe American Promise and the Preakness to make a little money, because no one's going to make money on journalism, right?
I mean.
Do you bet 4 to 5 odds? I mean, what's the fun in that?
Probably going to go that way. I think John's spot on. I don't really forget the odds. I don't see anybody really being too competitive. I mean, he should have won the last race and he had a miserable performance. I just don't see how it's not him. Just take the money where you can get it.
So just put your money on journalism and just be done with it.
What's the difference? My father told me a long time ago, there's 2 kinds of tickets. The one you take to the window to cash, and the one you tear up and put in the garbage. I like the ones we cash. I don't care if I'm getting 3 to 5. If I'm going to win, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm with him there. I'm not overly big into the odds. If I think it's going to win, it can be minus 250 for all I care. Money's money.
I love it. Love it. So we're all in on journalism for the Preakness. Or if you're in Baltimore, it's called the sickness because of the infield parties are just the actual activity at the game at the racetrack, and you just look up at the horses and go, "Oh, there they go again." That's the day at the Preakness. Anything you can carry into the infield is game, except as long as it's not glass. It's Baltimore at its finest and worst. I'll just leave it there. Let's move into NBA. What are you betting on here, Matthew? Who you like?
I don't see how the Timberwolves don't cover. I think the Warriors, without Steph, they lost a big piece of that offense. Obviously, greatest shooter of all time. I don't think they have the depth. I think Minnesota slipped up miserably in game 1, and took care of business game 2. I fully expect them to do the same tonight.
Looking at Minnesota minus 5.5, over under at 205. What do you like there?
I'm going with the Minnesota minus 5.5. I think they got more depth. I think they're more physical. Jimmy Butler seems like he's caught up. He doesn't know if he wants to take over and start shooting. He doesn't know if he wants to facilitate. They look a little lost without Steph. I don't see how they compete tonight.
John, what are you looking at? You betting on the Timberwolves Warriors?
I'm going with Matthew.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm going with Matthew.
Minnesota over?
I don't bet over under.
Oh, on NBA or at all?
At all. Once in a blue moon, I'll bet a runs line if there's 2 good pitchers and the relievers didn't pitch the day before. Occasionally, I'll do that. I'll bet the under, but I'm going to go with Matthew here, and I'm going to lay the 5.5. You take Steph Curry out of that team, it just is not the same team.
There's just nothing there. There's nothing there. I mean, Jay, do you gamble on the NBA? What do you do?
Not since Larry Bird taught me never to gamble on the NBA. I don't have enough time to tell you this story, but it involved overtime in the Miami Heat, and I thought I was going to die.
Well, we're already halfway down the story now, Jay. It's one game. It's one overtime.
Okay, so I've got Miami Heat, and I've got like 4.5 points, and Miami is just kicking Boston's ass, and they're going to win this game. Well, they decide that, Larry Bird's a great guy to start fouling, and Bird makes about 4 foul shots to send this thing into overtime. And I still have 4.5 points, and I'm going to win this thing, except Larry hits an uncontested 3 that was meaningless with about 4 seconds left, and just for Boston to cover. I went apoplectic. I couldn't stand it. I refuse to bet NBA after that. It was the biggest lock in the world. And I'm like, Larry Bird, just leave Larry out of it. Yeah.
What are those called? Bad bet?
Jersey, I wouldn't hang it in my house. That's how pissed I was.
I respect the hell out of that. I respect the hell out of that. All right. Minnesota covering the 5.5. Let's go to New York and Boston. Wow, what a series this has turned into. New York taking 2 on the road in Boston. Matthew, what do you make of that?
I mean, Jason Tatum's going to take some heat for this one. Guy, more of a self-proclaimed superstar than anybody else proclaiming it, but you can't blow back-to-back 20-point leads. You're the guy, and you've done absolutely nothing, especially in the fourth quarter. Jalen Brunson's stock's going through the roof, so I mean, plus for him, but yeah, shooting 35% and I think 20 or 25% from 3 in 2 games and blowing 2 huge leads. That's going to be a tough one.
All right, but what Boston's 5.5 point favorite?
Oh yeah, no. All of that being said, I like Boston minus 5.5. Basically, what I said, like I don't see them continuing to shoot 35%, 20% from 3. And they go down 3-0. I don't care who you are. You're in a lot of trouble. This is a do or die game for them. I get it's on the road, but I just think narrative-wise, you're not going to stay that cold, and you're not going to blow a third 20-point lead in a row, I would think. If that does happen, power to the Knicks, I guess. Why not?
All right, so you're taking Boston to cover the 5.5?
Yeah, I like it. I think they're the better team. I think they've been ice cold. They've screwed the pooch twice. I think they get it done tonight. So,
and who do you like in the series?
I still think I like Boston in 7. I think they're the much better team, and I find it hard to believe that they're going to continue to shoot that poorly. I think they've got more depth. I think they're the better team, but obviously 2-0 deficit, losing both at home, hard to overcome, but I still like them in 7.
He's staying on that. Jay, what do you got in the
I went to a Knicks game at the Garden, and I cannot believe this was a playoff team. It was the most boring basketball game I've ever seen. Jason Tatum is a St. Louis kid. I've had an opportunity to meet him a couple times. To Matthew's point, self-proclaimed superstar. He's so friggin' humble and shy. I've never met a stud in a field that is so – it's almost like too meek. But I think Boston. I think the Knicks are going to be worse at home. And again, I'm not betting this, but if I did, I would bet I like the 5.5. I like the Celtics.
John Fredericks.
I'm betting the Knicks. I'm going to take the 5.5. They're at home. And everybody's expecting, like everybody and their brother that I know is betting Boston. Like, oh, they're going to come back. They're going to win these 2 games. It's going to go to 7. They're going to win it 7. Blah, 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 blah. Boston, Boston, Boston. And meantime, the Knicks are going home and they kicked their ass 2 times and came back from 20-point deficits both times. And now all of a sudden they're supposed to roll over because it's the Boston Celtics with a, shamrock on their uniform. I don't freaking think so. I think New York is going to go home. That place, if you've ever been to the Garden in a playoff game, that place, that ceiling is going to explode. There's going to be people in the rafters. Every single shot they make, they're going to go crazy. They're at home. They got a 2-0 lead. It's their series now. They've taken control of it. I think they win this game. I can't believe I'm getting a 5.5. If it was 2.5, I take 2.5. I take 1. And Knicks are going to win this game.
Knicks going to win this game. I'm going with the Knicks to cover, Boston to win. It's going to be close, but the Knicks they'll cover that 5.5. Let's go. Let's go to the next series over Thunder Nuggets. What's going on with Oklahoma City? My God, is it just Jokic? What's the story there, Matthew?
I don't know. This one surprised me. This team was in free fall. They fired the most winningest coach in Nuggets history. The GM's gone. I genuinely didn't think they were that good. They have the best player on the planet. I'll give them that. Jokic is, without a doubt, the SGA MVP bettors have to be in shambles watching this series so far. I don't know. This one I'm personally not touching. I thought Oklahoma City was the better team, but Denver's showing the experience matters. Aaron Gordon all of a sudden it's turned into like prime Kobe down the stretch or something. I don't know what he's got going on, but he's got more game winners than your favorite player. So I'm just going to avoid this one and see what happens.
I like that Oklahoma City came back after their loss and just absolutely buried them.
Yep.
Right? I mean, that was extraordinary. Yep. What they scored 7 points in the first half. Don't know if they pull that off tonight or on tomorrow night. But Jay, you don't do NBA. What do you think of Oklahoma City, Denver?
I was impressed with it. I still am a sports fan, and I was impressed with the fact that Oklahoma City lost 14 ball games all year. That's not easy to do. That is a hell of a team. But that being said, and Matthew, I love what you said. Jokic is the best basketball player on the planet. And in these games, these guys seem to have this tendency to take over. So I don't know. I thought Denver was kind of in free fall, but it surprised me.
Yeah. Tough game to bet, especially in Denver with 5.5 to Oklahoma City on the road. John Fredericks, what do you got there? Thunder Nuggets, and then we'll go Cavs Pacers.
Oklahoma City is the better team. Look, Denver's tough at home. There's no question about it, but it's very tough to think that they're going to beat OKC. This becomes a down 2-1. This becomes a must-win game. I don't like the 5.5, but I think OKC takes control of this game early and wins it handily. So I'm going to lay the 5.5.
Nice. Cavaliers Pacers. I'm staying off Thunder Nuggets. Cavaliers Pacers. What do you make of this series? Indianapolis leading 2-1.
Yeah, this is another one I have no interest. I personally think the Cavs have been overrated all year, but at the same time they have collapsed twice in this series. So you could make the debate they should be up 3-0, but I personally haven't been on the Cavs bandwagon. I think Indiana's got a pretty good shot, but I'm going to stay away from it. It's not too appealing to me.
Even on the over-under at 230.5? A lot of
I'd
points.
maybe lean the over if the Cavs are healthy. The Pacers don't play defense, but then at the same time, it's a postseason game. It's going to be paced down. It's just nothing's intriguing to me.
I love the Pacers. I love the Pacers. I love the Pacers.
You love the Pacers?
I'm getting 5.5 at home. Like, they're getting no respect. They're up 2-1. This is a solid all-around team. And I'm with Matthew on Cleveland. I thought they were smoke and mirrors all season. Now it's playing out. And there's a lot of pressure on them. They go down 3-1. They're toast. So I love the Pacers here with the 5.5.
I do too, and I also love the over. Sorry, John, I like the over there. I think they're going to score a ton of points here, and that's an exciting bet for me. Jonathan Edwards joining us. Where are you from, Jonathan?
How's it going? I'm out in Morgantown right now.
Hey, Jonathan. Speaking of Morgantown, I know that this is not in order, but we've got to talk about this, Saxman. The second consecutive ninth inning implosion of the ranked Mountaineers baseball team last night in Kansas State. Oof. Unbelievable. After blowing a 5-run ninth inning lead to Pittsburgh at Pitt, they come back and they blow what was the score? They blow a 6-run lead in the ninth inning to Kansas State after turning 5 double plays. The bullpen implodes again. And I tell you what, Jonathan, we can get into this now, Chris, because this is a disaster.
Well, we got to take a timeout for our sponsors.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll do that, and then we'll get to this. It's because I know Matthew saw the game, I saw the game, but I tell you what, if there's anything Coach Saban's needed last night, he needed a MyPillow. He needed something less. Oh my God, MyPillow. Hey, they got the greatest Giza sheet sale right now. Get this, guys. Saxman, get that. Your wife is going to go crazy over this. Michelle is going to go bonkers when you tell her this. Giza sheets, $49.95, any size. King, cow king, queen, double, this, whatever it is, $49.95. Greatest sale he's ever had in these Giza sheets. If you ever slept on them, it's like just sleeping on silk. They're so phenomenal. And only until supplies, when they run out, they run out. All you got to do is go to mypillow.com, put in promo code Godzilla, $49.95. These Giza sheets are normally $150. If you get up to king size, they're like $170. $49.95 for any size, any color. Get them now. When they run out, they're gone. And also, if you spend over $100, you're going to get $100 in free digital stuff. It's the greatest sale he's ever had. Go to mypillow.com. Got to put in promo code Godzilla. That's what gets you to $49.95. Promo code Godzilla, mypillow.com. Saxman, tell Michelle right now. Just text her. Say, hey, you got to go to mypillow, mypillow.com.
No, we don't need to buy. We're renovating bathrooms. We're not buying anything
Got to get
else,
MyPillow.
John.
Michelle, I know you're tuned in.
I have
Forget Chris. Go to mypillow.com. Promo code Godzilla. Get your $49.95 Giza sheets right now. You're good to go.
You shut your mouth. No, honestly, it's Mother's Day. That's a great purchase for your mothers, your sweethearts, whatever. I love my Pillow's products, Mike Lindell's products. I love his sheets. I love his pillows. We have them, and we have his towels. You watch enough commercials during COVID, you're like, all right, let's take a flyer on this one. See what happens.
Don't forget,
and they're really good.
The My Slippers, which I got 4 pair of these because I'm afraid I'll lose one. These are the greatest slippers ever made. My Slippers, he's got a sale on those too. Check it out. Best slippers ever.
All at mypillow.com. Promo code Godzilla. This is Godzilla Wins, the John Fredericks Media Network. We're switching over to West Virginia baseball. Was this in Manhattan, Kansas?
Unbelievable. We're going to give everybody a chance here, but I'm just going to start out. Good, bad, and ugly, baby. They make 5 double plays. They're playing great. They get to the 9th inning. Kern, their starter, goes 7 innings, throws 75 pitches, gives up a 2-run homer. Sabins takes him out in the 8th. I agreed with that call. A lot of people did, and he only threw 75. But he was going to turn around the order for number 4 times. Tough to do. He doesn't really throw that hard. Somebody just teed off him, 2-run homer bomb, 400 feet, right? Saban sensed it. He doesn't want him to go in the order again. He brings his bullpen in. Here's the problem, okay? He doesn't pitch anybody out of that pen but 2 guys over and over and over. Bessinger and Stridge, and Estridge. That's it. He's got nobody else in there that he'll bring in. Multiple innings, multiple games. He's pitching him in the middle of the week in games that don't matter, that make no sense. Bessinger the other day, 3 innings, makes no sense. So I don't agree with that, but he brings him in again, and K-State comes up with a 6th spot. in the 9th inning or 7th spot or something. Wins the game. 6th spot.
It was 7-2.
7-2. They come up with this and still only had 1 out. And the guy that got the winning single, that was going to be a triple. So basically, it was 7-2. It was 8-7. It would have been 11-7 because that was a bases clearing triple. Unbelievable, Jonathan. Complete meltdown.
Yeah, I watched that whole game. I watched the whole game last night, and I could smell blood in the water when they just started letting up 1 run here and there, and it got to about 7-3. I was like, they're not winning this game. And sure enough, it ended up being 8-7. But that 9th inning was just hard to watch, but I couldn't turn it off. It was like watching, you don't turn off a car wreck, you just watch. I mean, it was a complete meltdown. It was awful. I would argue it was worse than the Pitt game because, yeah, it's a rivalry game, and you blew a 9-5 lead in the 9th. That's pretty bad. But this was awful. I mean, the magic number's still at 3 for WVU, but the Bats are still taking care of business, put up 7 runs and can't stop it. But that bullpen, man, I mean, it's happened multiple times. You had the Kansas State game, you had the Pitt game, but they've been losing these midweek games, but they've been taking care of business in the Big 12. Now it's starting to carry over into Big 12 play, and I'm really worried. It's happening at the worst time possible, and now I'm really starting to get worried.
Well, let's pick this up as we go into the College World Series for our listeners out there. This is great intel going into the Big 12 tournament and eventually the College World Series. Does West Virginia make the tournament? Will they be a host site, perhaps super regional? What do you think, John?
But I want to get Matthew's take here because this bullpen, the criticism for Steve Saban's, the coach, is using his bullpen in midweek games that mean nothing. That's been the criticism. It is what it is. Normally, you take your midweek games, you give guys when you're utilizing the same guys, you're not only taxing their arms and putting more innings on them, but then you're not sharpening the other guys you got. That's what the midweek games are for. That's what other coaches do. You put your guys like he's got Lyman in there, hasn't pitched in 6 or 7 weeks. Oh, he's got arms. They don't get in the midweek. And then you try to put them in on a Saturday night. They haven't pitched in 5 weeks. They're not sharp. Matthew, you follow this thing. Your brother's on the team. What's your take after these 2 9th inning meltdowns?
I mean, obviously, as you said, the ugly, you have 2 just monumental breakdowns. It's unfortunate that it's back-to-back games. Very easy to be emotional and panic. I think the bullpen does lack depth. I feel like that has been clear almost all year. At the same time, when the people have gotten opportunities, nobody has stepped up, which is unfortunate. But on the flip side, you're still 39-9. You're going to win the Big 12 regular season. It would really have to be a absolute monstrosity of a breakdown to not win the Big 12 regular season. And they faced no adversity all year. Everything Coach Saban has done has been just gold. It could be the most questionable thing you've ever seen, and it works out flawlessly. They faced no adversity. So I think that this is honestly good for them. They've got Chase Meyer going today. They've got Cart going tomorrow. They're going to win both those games. They're going to come out of Manhattan 2-1. They're going to play Kansas, who looked good last night, did not look good Thursday night against BYU. More of the story is they could still pull out 45 wins. They're going to win the regular season. They got a shot at the conference tournament down in Arlington. I think they needed to face adversity. I think that this could be a good reflection time, kind of readjust, let the guys recoup. I think they're fine. Moral of the story is they're 39-9. You could be 48-0. If you get bounced in a regional, this season was a failure anyway. It doesn't matter until the regional comes around. They're going to be a host site for a regional. Super regional might need a little help now. They're going to have a good ending. But the postseason is what matters. I mean, they win the regional, go to a super, make some noise. Still going to be a 45-win team.
You're making a lot of assumptions here.
I am, but I also
making a lot of assumptions. Like, you think they're going to win 2 out of 3. I think they're getting swept here.
I find it hard to believe with Meyer and Cart on the mound that they're losing.
They can't go 9 innings, right? The K-State pitcher today is really the best arm they've got. The Saturday guy's the best guy they got. I mean, when you melt down in 2 consecutive ninth innings, okay, something's going on here. And to just blow it off and say, yeah, it's just an aberration, I don't think so. He's got a couple guys coming out of that pen, Matthew, that in the last 2 appearances haven't recorded an out, right? And then he's got other people that have live arms, like I'm just going to mention it here as I don't care. Luke Lyman, one of their better pitchers, hasn't pitched in 6 or 7 weeks. This is the guy that should be coming in midweek, and there's a couple others, right? So I don't know.
I agree. I think Lyman, I think Yoke's got electric stuff. I think that they need more.
Well, he's not even on the roster. He's not even here.
Okay.
So he had a bad outing. He got cut off the roster. He's in Morgantown throwing with the other guys in the rehab games who's got, problems with their arm or soreness or whatever. He's not even there.
No, I think the best thing that could happen to them is they're going to need a good start out of Meyer today. You got to bounce back. You can't have 3 meltdowns in a row. I think what you said, there needed to be something addressed in terms of the depth in the midweeks. That's the time to do it. And when you've lost 3 midweeks in a row, I mean, who cares who pitches then if you're going to lose them? I think that has been a glaring issue all year. Hopefully it can get fixed. They've got, I guess, 5 more games to figure it out than the conference tournament. They're running low on time, but I do think it really does not matter to the postseason. They should still win the regular season. So throw some of these guys in there. Let them get some experience. Realistically, you win 1 game this week, you win 2 next week, you still win the regular season title.
Right.
You're a 40-win team. You've got a good resume. I mean, you're going to be a top 16 seed, I would assume. Throw some guys in there. If they get the crap beat out of them, they get the crap beat out of them. It is what it is. I think the adversity is.
Well, this brings up Matthew. This brings up the question about preparation for a tournament. You played at Clemson, yes, right? What at this point in the season, college ball is fairly
long year. Takes a toll for sure.
It's a long year, and because you're in fall ball, you're training, you're doing all this stuff. Plus, you got to balance your work, your studies, the rest of your life. What is the preparation as you close out the year? You're going to make not like the College World Series in Omaha, but you're going to be in the tournament, the 64-team field tournament. You're going to be in there. You might even host a regional, maybe a super regional if you win that, depending on how the whole thing shakes out. What's it like inside the locker room as the guys are preparing for this? Because you can let down because you're not totally focused on it. But to get your clocks clean, the last couple of games, like, hey guys, this is still real. This is still competitive baseball. Well, we got to bring it every day. And that's the transition from youth to pro, right?
Absolutely. Spot on. Especially, I'm not sure what West Virginia's calendar looks like, but most guys finishing up school, out of school, could get that summer lull of now I don't have class. I'm kind of just hanging out. But no, I see both sides. Obviously, baseball is a very, very momentum-driven game. The teams that get hot at the end are typically the teams you're fearful of. But then I've also seen teams coast all year with 0 adversity. And then you get to that regional, and all of a sudden you're down 4 runs in the 7th inning, and it's like, I haven't been here all year. Like, this is bad. Yeah, it's just panic button. So would I prefer the adversity came maybe 2 weeks ago? You had a month in the season left? Absolutely. But I think these next 5 games are going to be very telling. You're going to see a lot of the character of these guys. You're going to see the culture in the locker room. But I don't think the panic button needs to be hit. Definitely a little alarming. But I think they've got the pieces. The offense is still hitting. I mean, they're scoring runs. Now, the bullpen needs to be addressed. It needs to be figured out. But I think it's something that can overcome if they just get their heads back on. Hopefully a couple of guys step up. I think John made a great point. There are a few arms that have fantastic stuff. I think they need to be thrown in there. And if you can get 2 to 3 more arms out there to just solidify some depth, I mean, this is a team that could be scary because the offense is going to put up runs. That's a given. So if the bullpen can just hold
that's where I think the questions come in of the midweek games, because a lot of these arms should have been utilized in these midweek games and they haven't been. And so it's a double-edged whammy. Whammy number one is you're using the same guys over and over, more pitches, more innings. They get, you get arm fatigue. I mean, I don't know how many innings Reese Messenger's had, but it's a lot. Same with Stridge. And you keep bringing them in these midweek games, plus they're warming up several times, they're standing up. Other guys aren't even warming up. You look at that bullpen, everybody else is just sitting there, right? They're not even warming up. So he's going to bring the same guys in. So then you got fatigue in the middle of the week, but then the other guys that you have aren't getting sharper. And so, there's other examples that I could bring in. Obviously, this doesn't have anything to do with my son, because he's out. He's on the IR. He's injured, trying to make it back for the playoffs. So it's not about him, but it's about some of the other really good pitchers on this team that are sitting there. And they're the guys that should be going in against Marshall and Pitt and whoever else they played in the middle of the week. That's the purpose of the midweek games. We didn't do that, and I think now it's biting them in the butt.
No, 100%. I think everything you said is spot on. I'm hoping in these last 5 games, given that you should still win the regular season, give them some innings. I mean, if they get smoked, they get smoked. It is what it is. You're going to really have to fall apart to not win the regular season at this point.
Well, one of the things that is important on a roster is that when you're in the bullpen, and I've rode the bench in the bullpen, been in the game, you got to keep the entire team engaged. And they also, as from a chemistry standpoint, they also have to be having fun. Absolutely. Because the games grind, the season grinds, and to develop that chemistry and that spark that gets you out of those tight, panicky moments in the baseball game that, kids, frankly, can get lost in the emotion of that, in the mental grind of baseball. They have to have fun. They have to have an outlet. So getting all the guys playing gets that juice going and gets the camaraderie going that builds momentum. And that's when you watch the College World Series and you watch college baseball towards the end of the season. I find the teams that are having fun, that really just love the game of baseball, they tend to do well.
Oh, absolutely. And I think also, I want to say confidence matters for sure. Like if you're going up there and you're like, I haven't thrown in 5 weeks, I'm going to get shelled. Like, clearly that's an issue. But then if you want to go full circle, we just talked about the Nuggets. Experience is a huge thing. Being in that position, just how do you handle it? If you're brought in out of the bullpen, you just blew a 7-2 lead at 7-6. Are you stressing? Are you panicking? Or is it just, like you let up a hit, man. It's still just a game. But guys that have been in that position before, right, they're going to handle it significantly better. I can tell you my first career at bat versus A, B, number, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. My first career at bat, I'm telling you, I don't think I felt my legs. Like, I'm shaking. I'm panicking. And I mean, like, it's like, come on now. But once you do it, it's not as big of a deal. So I think the experience is even more of a factor. And if you get smoked, you get smoked. Like, it is the game. Hitting is still hard. That's why I'm not overly panicked about it. Blowing the lead twice is pretty impressive, but I mean, hitting's still a hard thing to do. If you can manage to do it a third time, I'd be more impressed by the bats than the pitching just completely falling apart.
Jonathan, how close are you following West Virginia baseball? Are you living and dying and stuff? Are you gambling?
Not gambling it, but I am writing on it. So I mean, I'm at almost every home game and I watch it every night when I'm not there. So, I mean, it's stressing me out a little bit that it's coming late in the season. But I think there a lot of fans, as WVU is, a lot are really critical on Coach Saban's. And, he's had his moments, but he's a first-year coach still at the end of the day. And I think that's going to have a big factor into maybe some of the inexperience. He's been around the program for a while. There's a lot of guys. He inherited a good roster, but I do think that's one thing. But I think, of course, the bullpen, huge concern. And I'm not willing to bet on any of these guys in there, but I like Cartsonis on Sunday. I don't know about today, but yeah, it's an interesting series. I'm more interested in what's going to happen next weekend because that Kansas series is going to be something.
What you've been following the team? You write on them at West Virginia Sports Nation. What what's the chemistry of the team right now? What you watch a team long enough, you see the body language, you see the conversations, you see the chatter. What's it like for the Mountaineers?
I think early on, and they've started to open up later in the season, but early on, like, it was dead quiet. I watched that Kennesaw series, and they came in hooting, hollering in the dugout and everything, and WVU's over here just stone cold silent. It's very interesting. They've opened up more as the season's gone on, and I think that's a good thing. I think it took some time to, bond and get in there. The bullpen, we talked earlier, John mentioned it, that like a lot of guys just stand around. I think that's one thing that really needs improvement on the chemistry, but you can tell Coach Sabins and his players are very passionate, which is a good thing, and they're cool under pressure most times. I think just recently it's just been a struggle, but I think they'll turn it around.
Who's the competition in the Big 12 tournament?
Oh, good.
Jonathan?
Oh, goodness. I think Kansas State's going to be nasty when it gets to it because, Kansas State knocked out WVU last year in the Big 12 tournament, and they had their number last year. So I think that could be one. I think Arizona's getting hot again. They took 2 of 3 in Morgantown, the only series loss that WVU had at home this year. Arizona State's getting hot. They're second. And then Kansas, up until a week ago, was second, just trailing behind us. Now they got swept by Cincy. That was bad, but it's a stacked conference. It's not going to be easy.
The other thing with it,
we've got to have first of all, John, we have to have a realignment in college sports. Sending these kids all over the country to play baseball is asinine.
Well,
go ahead, John.
Yes, it's crazy when you got to go from Stanford to Pitt, right, or Stanford to North Carolina.
Well, we got to have an entire show dedicated to realigning college sports.
It's got to get realigned, but they changed the tournament. They're allowing 12 teams in lieu of 8, and it went from double elimination to single elimination, which means that the top seed, if you're the top seed, you've only got to win 3 games in 4 days. If you're one of the bottom seeds, you got to win 5 games in 4 days. Just not going to happen. So it gives the edge to the better seeds, but the single elimination, you get one bad game, you're done. So that makes it very, very scary for any team because stuff happens, right? You get a pitcher that just doesn't have it that day, and all of a sudden you're down 6-0 to Cincinnati in the 4th inning, and you're like, what? So that's going to make it a little bit tough. But we get the West Virginia here. Their magic number to win the conference is 3. That's a combination of wins or losses. And the team they're battling right now is Arizona State. Arizona State is going to win out, right? They're playing the Cougars at home. They trounced them last night. They're going to win those 3. Then they go to Oklahoma State, who's having a dreadful season. So I think Arizona State's going to win out. If they win out, they go 6-0. That means that West Virginia has to win 3 of the next 5 games, right? They got 5 games, 2 tough on the road, then 3 at home with Kansas. You could get down to this thing where it could go down to the final weekend. It could go down to the final day on that Sunday, Matthew, where that becomes a must-win game for the Mountaineers to win a division. And they'll be, because of the percentage, because they didn't play as many games because of Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State. Yep. Hurricanes, it's going to be on a percentage basis. So there'll be no share. There'll be no tie. Somebody's going to win the conference and somebody's not. And right now, WVU has got to win 3 out of the next 5 games to win that division because the Sun Devils are going to win out. They're not playing anybody.
Matthew, your takes on the finishing rounds of games here leading into the tournament and the tournament itself?
Yeah, so the tournament format, obviously top 4 seed is humongous, especially we've clearly addressed the West Virginia bullpen. They don't need to play that extra game. And to John's point, I think should they get to the championship game, which would be game 3, you're going to have to see some guys that have not thrown much this year. So if you can get them innings in these final 5 games, so that way out in Globe Life, playing for a Big 12 title, it's not tight buttholes freaking out, haven't thrown in 3 months. I think that would be a very, very pretty solid thing to do. I'll put it that way. I'd be concerned about TCU at this point. They've been under the radar all year. They've been quiet, and this is a historic program. Coach Sarlos has won a lot of ball games. He's been to a lot of super regionals, been to a lot of, obviously as an assistant, been to Omaha a ton. It's a winning program. They know what it takes. I think that's the team that I'd be most concerned about, just because they seem very under the radar. Nobody's talked about TCU all year, just kind of going about their business. I think they're 17-9, 35-15. But no, West Virginia's in the driver's seat. You're asking for Arizona State, TCU to not slip up at all, and then you got to go 3-2. I'm not saying it's not easy by any means. It's still baseball, but that's a pretty good situation to be in with 5 games remaining. Asking another team not to have any mistakes. You just got to go a game over 500.
Well, they can control their own. They control their own destiny. The Sun Devils don't.
Spot on.
I'm absolutely convinced.
For a first-year coach,
Arizona State is going to win out, but they control their own destiny. They got to win 3 games. And here's the situation: if they get swept here, you got to remember, Kansas State is 17-2 at home. Nobody beats them at home, dude. They're 17-2 for a reason. You saw that game last night. They're 17-2 at home for a reason. So if the Mountaineers come back home to face Kansas and they get swept by Kansas State, they're going to have to sweep that series to win the conference, because Arizona State is going to win out. The competition's not there. They're gonna win out. Plus, right now they're playing the best baseball they have all season. So then you can go home and maybe you got to win 2 out of 3 or win all 3. That's going to be interesting. Cooking down to the final day. If it does, you will see 6,000 people, 7,000 people packed into that stadium. That's going to be fun.
All right, great stuff on West Virginia baseball. A little feedback from Getter.com here. Who do you like, Wawa or Sheetz? The perennial conversation in the Pennsylvania East Coast convenience store rivalry. John, who do you like there, Wawa or Sheetz? Sheetz. Jonathan?
I'll stick with Sheetz.
Sheetz, Western PA boy. Matthew, do you know what we're talking about here?
I was going to say, so here's the Southeastern take. Never been to a Wawa, so I don't know if I can adequately judge this one, but I am a big Sheetz fan. I'll give you that. I do like Sheetz.
Sheetz. Wawa is good. Just to spice it up, I used to go to Wawa when I was working outside of Philadelphia. I'll go with Wawa. Anyway,
we got to get you guys at Buc-ee's.
The difference with Sheetz, the big difference with Sheetz is they brew the coffee. The beans go in the thing and they brew the coffee. Wawa doesn't do that. They just got the coffee pots. I like to see my beans getting ground. You know, if I can't get my 1775 coffee and I got to stop like it did yesterday on the road, you know, driving point A to point B, wherever I'm going, I got to get a cup of coffee. There's a Wawa sign. There's a Sheetz sign. I want to get those beans ground. I want to see them ground up. I want to get my nice, fresh cup of coffee. Not as good as 1775 coffee. Go to 1775coffee.com. Promo code Godzilla, 10% off. But, you know, better than Wawa.
So 1775coffee.com. There's a promo code Godzilla.
10% off. Best coffee ever. All you got to do is get it once and you're hooked. You'll not drink anything else.
The My Pillow Sheetz sale, I can go for coffee because we drink coffee here in the morning, but you start loading me up on more house goods, John. I'm going to come through the screen at you because I'm renovating 3 bathrooms. And that doesn't come with a promo code, okay? As much as I love the Godzilla promo code, I wish I had one and I love our contractors, but damn, this is cash heavy. So anyway, 1775coffee.com, promo code Godzilla as we switch over to the NHL. What are we thinking here, Matthew? Oilers.
Well, that's my favorite bet of the day is We'll start with a disclaimer. Big Oilers fan, so take this as you will. But 2-0 on the road, been outscored on the power play, 3-0. And anybody that watches the Oilers, historical power play. You got McDavid and Draisaitl. They make their money on the power play, and they have no power play goals, and they're up 2-0. That being said, I think tonight's ugly. I think it's really ugly. We got rid of Stuart Skinner. I've been preaching it forever. Back at home in Alberta. I love it. Rogers Center's going to be bumping.
So you like Edmonton straight up in this one?
Oh, yeah. Minus 130. This, to me, there's no reason this isn't minus 200, minus 220.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sticking with
What
it.
about
Sticking with
over,
it. Going,
over under 6.5. Over under a 6.5 goals. Over.
it's hard to take any Edmonton unders. If you watch enough games, you'll quickly realize defense is not a priority most of the time. And then when you got McDavid and Draisaitl, goals tend to add up quickly.
And they're at home for game 3. So that place is going to be bonkers.
Oh, yeah. And then not to mention, I think I share this with every Oilers fan. The hatred for Vegas is real. It is real. The Rogers Center is going to be electric.
Why do they hate Vegas?
Because it's same division. They've knocked us out a couple times. McDavid, Eichel is just – there's nothing about Vegas that's appealing. Every playoff series is chippy. Pietrangelo last year slashing the crap out of Draisaitl. Like, it's just – there's nothing about Vegas I like. I think –
But this is what I like about your hatred, Matthew, is that it's early in the rivalry because Vegas hasn't been.
Yeah,
Vegas hasn't been around.
The Red Sox-Yankees rivalry, like,
right?
I feel like I'm basis for that one. No, this one's new, and it might surpass the Yankees at this point, just because the Yankees don't
really.
They're irrelevant.
Let's back this up a little bit. Does it go back to the history of losing Gretzky to the American team, the LA Kings? And the pure hatred of that. Janet Jones notwithstanding, I mean, that was not a bad move on his part. Let's just be honest. Everyone goes, yeah, okay, I could see that happening. But Edmonton was dominant there for a while. Like what, 4 in a row?
Yeah.
Messier.
That's what I've been waiting on now. We've got, I mean.
But the buildup for Edmonton has been tremendous. This was a great organization in a league that was, Canadian heavy for a long time. And now they've been off the board. They haven't been competitive for a while. Now they're competitive again. And you have this American team, this new American team with, frankly, crappy uniforms. I hate those uniforms.
Everything about them. The uniforms.
They're a disaster.
The players, disgusting. The organization, disgusting.
I'm colorblind and I'm nauseous watching these things. I'm just like, ugh.
No,
I share. I don't share a hatred with Vegas, but they shouldn't be this good this early. That pisses me off.
They were good early, but it's all the play. I'm not a fan of a single player on the team. I think Mark Stone's a crybaby. Pietrangelo's a crybaby. Eichel's the leader of crybabies. Everything about them disgusts me. There's not a team in pro sports that I hate more than the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
I love that about you.
And I hate the Yankees. I do. I'm not a Jets guy. I don't like the Giants. Like, obviously being a Red Sox Patriots. But it is the Vegas Golden Knights. That is where I will rant for days.
I love that about you, Matthew.
Disgusting. Just purely disgusting.
So let's zip on over. If you can take that hatred and just dial it back a little bit and talk coherently about Capitals and the Hurricanes. Who do you like there?
I'm going with the Canes. I think they're the better team of the two. Washington, you saw kind of fizzle out down the line. Round 1 was a little sketchy to me. I think the Canes are a more complete team. I'm going to ride with Carolina.
Over under 5.5. What do you got there? Lay off that.
I'd lay off it, but I tend to lean probably the over, because if you get a 3-2 game with an empty netter 4-2. I mean, postseason teams aren't shy to pull the goalies quickly, especially deeper in the series as it gets. Could get 1 to 2 cheap goals late.
John, let's back up to the Oilers Knights, and then we'll do Caps Canes.
And tread lightly if anybody's plans on picking Vegas here. Just be careful.
I won my first 8 hockey playoff games. Then I took it on the chin, lost 3 in a row. Now I've won another 3 in a row. So I'm, I guess, 11-3. So I'm doing very well. Oilers, I'm going to go with Matthew here. I mean, laying $1.25 at home. Are you kidding me? They dominated both games. I definitely like Edmonton at home. I'm going to lay minus 125. The Knights are way overrated here by Vegas. So I'm going to go with the Oilers there. And I'm not afraid of Wood, as you guys know. Like, I believe in winning the bet. Okay. So I'm going to lay the 230 with Raleigh today because the Capitals can't win on the road. They barely squeaked the game and home win. They can't win on the road. They were dreadful on the road in the 3 games that they've already played. Carolina, that if you ever been to a game in Raleigh, that place is crazy. So I'm going to lay the 230 there with Raleigh over Washington tonight.
For the audience, John, explain laying the 230 and the 125 and those hockey games.
So for the
not everyone bets.
So for the Capitals game, for the Caps Raleigh game, so Raleigh's money line is 230 to 100. So if you bet Raleigh, you have to put up $230 to win 100. So the odds are not good. If you bet Washington, you're going to get 195 for your 100. There's a 4-cent spread there, a 40-cent spread, which is how DraftKings now make money. When I grew up gambling, every bookmaker had a dime line. Now it's a 40-cent line, which is ridiculous, but that's what it is. And everybody's kind of gotten accustomed to it. That's why the bookmakers make all the money, because if they get an even amount of money bet on each team, the bookmakers are going to win. So I'm going to lay the 230 here. The Oilers are minus 125. So I got to put up $125 to win 100. And I'm with Matthew. I thought this should have been 180, 190, 175, 200. The fact that it's only $1.25, I'm like, what is somebody hurt? So I had to actually go to ESPN and look up this game and see if somebody was hurt. And they're not. Just that Vegas has got a lot of respect for Vegas, I guess.
Fantastic analysis.
Jonathan, you do well. It's important. We talk, we get down in the weeds, and sometimes you got to pull up so everyone can see what we're talking about and go, oh, I see what you're talking about here. Even though journalism is a 4 to 5 odds, okay, it's not 8 to 1. You're not going to make big money on it, but you're going to make money betting journalism in the preakness, right?
If journalism wins, then I think,
right, that's the
if
game.
You bet 100, if journalism going to go off at 3 to 5, so I only bet to win. That's how I make money at the track. I don't bet exotic. I don't bet exactas. I don't bet place and show. Those are sucker bets, to be honest. So I bet to win. So if it's 3 to 5, that's going to pay like $3, right? Or $3.20 or something. So that means if you put up $100, you're going to win $12 for every 20 or $60. So I'm going to put up 100 to win 60, but I got the best horse in the race without a doubt. So
you win $60.
I'll bet that all day. I'll bet that all day.
Yeah. Okay. Love it. Jonathan, we're in hockey now and gambling. Do you do that at all as a sports writer? Should you be doing that at all? Jonathan, no. Where are you in hockey? Where let's do the hated Golden Knights from Vegas.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I follow like betting lines and stuff, but I don't bet. I literally just talk to my friends, and they win pretty often. If they talk to me, they win a good bit, especially with hockey, at least. I like the Oilers straight up tonight. I just think that Vegas is not going to go into Edmonton and win. They might steal Game 4, but I doubt it. So, talking Game 3, sweep. I could see this being a sweep or a gentleman's sweep, 4 or 5 for Edmonton. McDavid's the best hockey player on the planet. My favorite player, even though I'm not an Oilers fan. But yeah, okay. Currently, I think McDavid's playing the best hockey in the world right now. So I got the Oilers on that one. And then if we're gonna go for the Caps-Canes game, I like the Caps tonight. I know Raleigh's a hard place to play, and I know Washington's not good on the road, but I mean you're still dealing with Ovechkin and the rest of the crew. I think the Canes are a better team and they win the series. I think the Caps steal one tonight.
Wow! With those odds, do you put a little cashish in that bad boy, huh? What are we talking about here?
I still don't have enough. I don't have enough confidence in DC to like. If I was to put money down, I wouldn't put it. But right. I still like them taking the game. I don't know.
I like the Canes and I like the Oilers. We're probably going to watch both. Thank you for your input on that. As we move into Major League Baseball, are we ready to leave? Let's just go quickly for tomorrow's matchups. The Jets and the Stars. Dallas is minus 145, and Florida is minus 190. That's a big one.
Hmm.
What do you like there, Matthew? Let's just go back to those.
We'll start with, so I was at game 7 of the Dallas-Colorado game. Absolutely fantastic. Top 5 experience was amazing. American Airlines, tough place to play. I think Dallas, that was my pick to win it all. I'm sticking with them here. Now, the other series, I know John's a big Leafs guy. He knows I'm very anti-Toronto. I think they might be for real. This series has impressed me. I thought Florida would for sure be up 2-1 by now. I think they could have had a case for 3-0, and Toronto just keeps on pulling it out. I don't know if I'm prepared to lay Florida. I think whatever you said, minus 190, I don't think I'm ready to pull the trigger on that. That would be a slight lean, but I think I'm going to avoid that one because Toronto has consistently impressed me significantly more than I was expecting.
Okay. John Fredericks.
This is not your father's Maple Leafs. I've said this from the very first day of the season. They went out, they got a defense. They probably made the bigger key upgrades than any other NHL team because they were tired of losing. And, they were tired of getting beat 8-5. So they went out, they got a defense. And now they're tough. And as good as Florida is, I'm taking the Leafs here on the road at 160. This game should be 3-0. This series should be over. I think they've proven they're a better team. And I think the Panthers here are in big trouble. So I like the Leafs. Look, I bet the Jets to win the whole thing. I got 10-1 odds. They got to win one of these games in Dallas. So I'm not going to bet the game because I'm obviously rooting for the Jets. They got to win one of these games. They got to get home. If it's 2-2 and they get home, this thing is going to go 7 games, but they got to win a game here at home in Dallas. So, but I'm not going to bet them tonight because I don't know. But if they go home down, if they go home down 3-1, we're in big trouble. We go home 2-2. Jets are going to win this thing in 7.
Jonathan?
I like the Stars over the Jets in Dallas. I think this is going to be a long series, but then again, I see the Jets taking the next game in Winnipeg, but for the game in Dallas, I've got Dallas. I've been to American Airlines for a game, and it is, out of the 4 or 5 arenas I've been to, it is the most raucous place out of all of them. Yeah, it was. Yes, I was just a regular December regular season game, and it was electric.
All right, let's go to that topic. Favorite stadium event that you've been to? You both talked about American Airlines Arena in Dallas for the Stars games, but you've mentioned it's one of the top places to go. What's the top place to go for a game? Jonathan, we'll go back to you since you just brought it up.
Man, I'm kind of like Matthew. I'm a diehard Red Sox and Patriots fan. I'd say Gillette when Brady was there. I got to go a couple times. That or I went the year of the bombing at Fenway, July 4th weekend, and that was like peak part of my childhood. So I think those two are really good. I give honorable mention outside of my favorites. Went to a Steelers game earlier this year for the first time. Had a blast. And then I grew up going to Bengals games all the time. But as for now, I'd say Gillette when Brady was there is really hard to top. On a Monday night, 15 degrees.
Okay,
yeah.
Thanks. We've had enough of you already.
Yeah.
Because I don't need to hear about the Bradys and the Patriots anymore.
Yeah.
Tip the hat to them, though. They're a quality organization. And
It's too fun. Too fun.
Whatever. John Fredericks.
Oh, not even close. And I've been to hundreds and hundreds of professional and college games. Not even close. Penguins, PPG Arena. That place is it rocks. And when Crosby gets out and he scores a goal, when the lights go crazy, every game is packed. It doesn't matter whether they make the playoffs or not. You can't park. You can't get in. You can't get a seat. It's just every seat to the top of the rafters is full, and they make it a fun experience. So without a doubt, I could go if I'd have to get up at 3:30 a.m. I go to every Penguins home game if I could afford it. I'm so much fun there. So definitely Penguins.
It's a blast.
I'm going to give one shout out to a stadium that no longer exists, which is the Astrodome. Going there in the playoffs with 50,000 people, and that's when they had that big scoreboard. That place was unbelievable. But right now in baseball, Texas Christian University. Oh my God. Matthew knows
Really?
this. Oh my God. That place, I've never seen more crazy, rabid, drunk fans in my life. There's like, it fits like 15,000. They put the parents, they make the parents sit on the bleachers of the other team way up in the corner. That's where they sit you. You can't even get a seat. And they sit you there way up as far as you can go. And the other like 13,000 people are screaming at you the entire time. The WVU pitchers come in, they throw a ball, like ball one. Place goes crazy. It's like, it is the most insane place to play, which is in Fort Worth, Texas Christian. And even if you're rooting for the other team, you got to enjoy the experience. And those fans are nuts. That's fun. Plus, they're all drunk.
Matthew, what do you got? Best places to go.
I kind of like that TCU call. College baseball didn't even consider it, but no, TCU's up there. A&M, Ole Miss, and Florida State, without a doubt, the top four. But,
SEC baseball, that good, huh?
Oh, I'm telling you, I know they get the bias, but it's different. It is. Yeah, they pack it out. There is no shortage of alcohol, and they have themselves an evening. No, absolutely. But no, I don't know. I would say in terms of just one game, Game 7 last week, hands down, the craziest game I've been to. Wyatt Johnson's goal to make it 3-2. Miko hit an empty netter. The place was rocking. But on the flip side, I will say my brother and I think 2 seasons ago, went to like the first 18 home games. It is electric, but that was a special occasion. I like what John's saying. My first Penguins game, I was 13. I still vividly remember it. It was electric.
Me too.
And then you can't go wrong with MSG. Rangers games, it's a unique atmosphere. The goal chant is top notch. I know my brother's a Rangers guy. I'll put the Rangers up there for a consistent regular season game. That would probably be my one.
Those are great great memories you're sharing with us. My most vivid experience when I was like, this place is crazy. Like, holy Lord, what is going on? UVA, Carolina, when they were 1-2 in the country, Ralph Sampson versus Michael Jordan, James Worthy, and Sam Perkins. 9,000 people packed in a University Hall. I get chills thinking about it. 1-2 in the country, national television, psychotic atmosphere. Everyone losing their friggin' minds in staid, conservative Charlottesville, Virginia. You know, those feelings never leave you. Right about PPG and seeing the Penguins there, just Penguins at home when they're back in the igloo. You know, I'm a homer, but the Three Rivers Stadium, when the Steelers were winning, I'll never forget an overtime game with Jacksonville. Jerome Bettis said afterwards, this was the loudest stadium he'd ever been in his entire life, and he played at Notre Dame. Shout out to University of Tennessee and my good friends there for hosting. I've been there at Neyland Stadium.
Oh my goodness.
Shout out. Neyland Stadium is ridiculous. Love Norman, Oklahoma on game day. That they have really upgraded that facility. That's an incredible game day experience. I've not done the other ones, but you know, these are the things that I think stand out. Let's go back around the worst. What's the worst place to go? Let's do that, Jonathan Edwards.
Oh goodness. I don't even really know where to start. I've kind of lucked out with a lot of these. The first time I went to Nationals Park, it's a great park now. I think I went before they did some compared to what it was. I went in 2015 or 16 and it was not good. Progressive in Cleveland before they were good again, not good. But really, I mean, those are the only 2 bad ones. I haven't traveled much outside of that. Most of the ones I've been to are like, you know, these marquee ones. Like if I'm going to go to a good one. So sure. I haven't had too many bad ones. The JMU fans, I went out for some Marshall games. Cool, awesome facility. Horrendous fans. When I was at Marshall. Now I get it. We were the visiting team, but like they were brutal.
This is football and in Bridgeforth Stadium in Harrisonburg.
Yeah. Yes, really? And I think it's awesome. I've been twice now, but the people. So I guess that's what knocks it down. But haven't really been to any too terrible places.
Well, let's back it up since we're on the Interstate 81 in Virginia. Metallica in Blacksburg, Lane Stadium, Wednesday night, this past week, had an earthquake when they played Enter Sandman. If you've never been to Lane Stadium on a Thursday night, when the team comes out, I'm not a Tech fan, but when they come out of that stadium tunnel and they're cranking Sandman, those people lose their minds. Let's go to John Fredericks. Worst place to go to?
Chicago White Sox, south side.
It's gotta be awful.
Area sucks. Whole block sucks going in there. Stadium sucks. Worst stadium in baseball. Worse than Oakland, actually. Worst NFL stadium, Jacksonville. Just doesn't do anything. It's just boring. Jacksonville, gone. And then worst college baseball stadium in the history of man is in Lubbock, Texas. There's nothing to do there. You can't get there. You can't get there. You can't get out. Once you get there, there's like an Exxon station. That's where you have to buy your drinks and supper. I think they have a beer. That's all I remember. And then the stadium is absolutely decrepit, terrible place to play, horrible stadium, fan experience, -50.
Matthew, worst place.
I mean, he's not wrong. Lubbock's a pit. It's the middle of nowhere. I'd say college baseball wise, Duke is up there. Just zero atmosphere.
Duke sucks.
Was not at all a fun time.
Duke sucks at everything.
Yeah. Don't go to a baseball game. Not missing much.
Don't go to Durham anyway.
I would say honestly, one of the worst ones I've been to, which was surprising, went to a Senators game this year. Horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. I'm assuming it changed once they made the postseason, but zero atmosphere. It was miserable. And then the one that takes the cake, Mother Nature did us all a favor. Tropicana.
Senators. You mean the Ottawa Senators?
Yeah. Went to a Sens game earlier this year. Okay. Terrible. But
really?
the one that takes the cake, not even close. Mother Nature really helped everyone out. Tropicana Field.
I agree with that. Brutal. I forgot about them.
Brutal.
That is brutal. You're right.
It's disgusting. The dome's gross. That portion of St. Pete's not the nicest. There's you and 50 other people. And the Rays were actually like pretty respectable when I was there too. Like they were they were a good team. And it was like, come on, man. But thankfully, yeah, no longer a dome. Hopefully no longer a stadium.
Best minor league stadium, quickly. Anybody?
Oh God. I like the one in Greenville. I like the one in Greenville. That's South a nice stadium.
Yeah, the Fenway replica.
Yeah, that's
nice.
Yeah. No, the drive stadium's awesome. I'm going Frisco Rough Riders. Rangers AA team. It's a cool place up there.
Nice. I have to think about that one, John.
Mine is my favorite is where the it's one of those draft league teams, but it's where the Red Hot Chili Peppers play in Central Virginia. That is I've been to a ton of minor league stadiums. It is an iconic stadium. The fences are wooden. The seats are wooden. The whole overhang is it's about 100 years old. It's right in the middle of downtown Colonial Heights, Virginia. It's right like there's a 7-Eleven there. There's a bar there. It's an iconic stadium in Colonial Heights, Virginia, where the Red Hot Chili Peppers play.
Which is great because right down the road or right up the road from there is that toilet bowl of the stadium called the Diamond in Richmond, which just needs to be this could be like a really useful exercise for the United States Air Force to come in and just obliterate it and have and sell tickets and have them come and just bomb the damn thing out of existence.
See, Al knows. Al, our producer, said Colonial Heights, Virginia. I just couldn't think of the town it was in, but I know it was in somewhere around
to go into the stadium in Richmond, you have to climb a vertical set of stairs that goes like this. I mean, you can't get in walking in ground level, and it's like you get a little dizzy walking down the stairs as you're coming out.
No, I think the answer I should have went with, now that I think about it, the Charlotte Knights, the White Sox AAA team. I say just abominate the White Sox, move it to Charlotte, and just have the Knights be the big league team.
That's a beautiful stadium.
You got the Charlotte city skyline as the backdrop. That's the way to go.
Charlotte's bound to have an MLB team at some point. They have to.
It'd be
somewhere down there.
It'd be a good place.
Charlotte or Raleigh, one of them.
It'd be good. Oh, and we can always rag on Atlanta, but we'll do that another time. Okay. Best food in a stadium. Let's go to Jonathan Edwards.
I went to PNC a couple weeks ago, got that pierogi cheesesteak, the kielbasa cheesesteak that's new this year. That was awesome.
Nice.
That was awesome.
Good call. John Fredericks, best stadium food.
Red Sox hot dogs.
Fenway Franks, baby.
Fenway Franks. Go ahead, Matthew.
No, PNC's up there. I mean, every PNC experience I've had, you get the whole strip along the outfield. You're on the river pregame. That's for right now. I think that's the safest bet. You can't go wrong there.
Yeah, you get a Permane Brothers sandwich.
Oh yeah, get some wings out there and eat them by the river. Get a beer.
Yep.
Come on now.
And you talk about icons, Fenway Franks. You go to Wrigley Field, you get a brat in an old style, and you sit in the bleachers and you just enjoy life. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. All right, John, let's take it out. We gotta have someone we can promote here. Someone's products.
Listen, a couple of things. I want to thank everybody for being with us. Thank Chris Saxon for hosting today. We got Jay Delsing coming up for all West Virginia athletics. Go to wvsportsnation.com. That's our site. You can read Jonathan Edwards. He does the previews. I do a column now every so often, did one the other day. Go to wvsportsnation.com, wvsportsnation.com. Bookmark that, and you're good to go. And if you're in Virginia and you want to have some fun, no more better fun than Rosie's Gaming. Go to rosiesgaming.com. They got 7 locations in Virginia, biggest jackpots, biggest payouts, because they have the lowest takeout. Food is great. Atmosphere is great. They have areas where there's no smoking. It's the only casino you're going to find where you can go in areas where there's a smoking area off to the side, and they shut those doors. I don't know what the hell goes on in there. I don't go in. I don't want to die. No smoking areas. Great experience. Great people. They've got the bookmaker upstairs. They got OTB. Check it out. Go to rosiesgaming.com. Win money, have funny. Win money, have fun. And for your older guys, take your date there. Take your significant other there. You just may get lucky twice. rosiesgaming.com.
Love it. Have fun. Make money this year. Let's go. Love it, John. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Jonathan. We'll see you next week. John, what are we talking about? We going to do this? What are we going to do?
We're on every week, 9 to 11 on Saturday. Godzilla wins. Stay with us.
How to make money. See you, man.